Hello guys, so it's been more than a month already since Xenoblade 3 has been announced, and I did not know what to do next. So I came up with the idea of talking a bit about the combats that we could see on the next game. So let's get into it, I hope you like the video, let's go! Stationary combat, like in 2 and Torna, is the safest bet that would mean stutter stepping or auto-attack cancelling for rechargeable arts would be back also. I also believe combo routes for arts and specials should make it back, but in a different style, since the blade system seems no longer to be present. Adding new states to the driver combo, and maybe reworking the way how elemental combos work a bit more from how it was in Torna. We also know from the trailer that at least 4 party members can be engaged on the field, maybe even more, so I believe that switching between party members on the fly is a thing that the series have been working towards since Torna. The Blade series always have new mechanics connected to the story in some ways, like Shulk's visions, overdrive and the Blade system. This time I believe this mechanic would be implemented more like visions and overdrive rather than the all-encompassing Blade system. My prediction is that it will have something to do with filling the clocks. Maybe by filling them up you can activate an ability like overdrive that gives many buffs and rechargeable arts and specials. Levels should go from 1 to 99, like in previous main series titles. Arts leveling and skill trees should also get some changes. Blades will probably not be back to collect, but weapons and armor might make a return. I believe Monolith have learned from the criticism that people have voiced to the field skills and affinity charts, not saying they shouldn't be present, but some small tweaks would be enough to make them very enjoyable this time. By having a fixed set of characters, and only asking their field skills from the player, many problems would be already fixed. Then let us do things like accessing the menu anywhere, like in stairs, make it faster to load and easier to interact with, like in DE. And don't ask them too often during the campaign, so that doesn't break the flow of gameplay. Also make the little animations skippable, or not appear at all in places where you already succeeded. Word affinity charts like in the original and X might make a return, but the one I am most interested in is in the party affinity chart. Especially if you get more characters than what we already know. Area progression is pretty good already, and I don't see them changing much here. Fashion gear in the E and X was highly praised. While many costumes from 2 are enjoyable, I 100% believe fashion gear will be back, but not quite like in X or the E. Instead of having every piece of armor look different, it would allow you to mix and match a set of fewer better produced costumes, like in the special outfits made for the E. In regards to gameplay customization, it's difficult to think how it will be handled. It might be like in the original with gems and armor, or like 2 with chips and elk cores, but the one thing I am quite confident in is the return of pouch items, as they are simpler to understand and make use for casual players. I actually have in mind an entirely new style of combat that I believe have some good chances of resembling what we will get in September, since it mixes elements from all previous games. But of course this is mostly a thing I did for fun, and combat in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 could be pretty much anything at this point in time. So let's start by talking about how I would like the progression and customization to work. I want them to make it more straightforward, as in removing the aspects that I consider unnecessary, like gem crafting and elk cores refining. The way how you are capable of equipping gems and cores right away in Future Connected and Torna made me experiment much more with these systems than in the way how they work on their main games. My only hope for fashion gear is to have costumes that match every area, as I like going through the game wearing those costumes, and I would like them to work like in DE and give us new options like taking off Dion's scarf or having Uni wear her hoodie. I don't really have a very good reason why, but I would like to go further than level 100. Maybe make it so the game's last boss is on level 100, and then the post-game goes to level 150, before fighting super bosses with even higher levels than that. I want skill trees to have cooler rewards. Getting the chance to survive at 1 HP with Rex might be very useful, but it's things like Zeke's Eye of Shining Justice that makes me plan out how to get there. And it's just cool! I actually want blades to be back, but way less involved in the combat, kinda like summons, that you can call to perform attacks or give buffs. Collecting and building them could be really interesting and fun, just don't make their affinity chart so big. I want field skills entirely reworked, so now when you need to burn something, instead of needing a Blade's Fire Mastery field skill to pass, you just target it as if it was an enemy and use a Fire Elemental art. If the art's strong enough, you pass. And instead of asking for field skills like Leap, you just have to have the Moon Jump skill unlocked on the character's skill tree in order to make it there normally. Make it so it's possible to trade and gather side quests from the World Affinity chart. And of course, by getting better affinity between the party members, you unlock parts of the skill tree, making it easier to get to where you want. When it comes to area progression, I would like to make it more impactful to develop areas, like Colony 6, but instead of starting destroyed, it would be just alright. And as the area develops further, new quests specifically geared to develop in the town appear, and new structures are added, where you can collect items of higher rarity. Well, now it's the time for the big one. The first big change would be to the way how we perceive combat as a whole, with more emphasis on action, movement and the actual hitboxes that dictates the registration of the hit. This feels like it would be a natural step forward for the series, as they added more arts that can be reflexes, block and dodge incoming damage in previous titles. Of course, hitbox can't be totally relied on, because enemies move a lot and the strategy aspect could easily be ruined. By adding hitboxes on top of the traditional hit scanning, we would allow fights against big hordes to go smoother, as every move would have natural area of effects. Auto attacks would be replaced with combo attacks. Like in Xenogears, they would be classified as quick attacks and fierce attacks. In the face buttons, the X and Y buttons is where the combo arts would be, and they can be placed in whichever way you prefer. Quick arts will serve as a replacement for stutter stepping and recharge the standard arts, while fierce arts deals a lot of damage and recharges specials when you cancel them into standard arts, but they don't cause status effects like the standard arts. So when a combat encounter begins, the usual loop would be quick, 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 fierce, art, special, and by repeating this the player would build up orbs that work exactly as in Torna, and then chain attacking to break the orbs and get the elemental burst. Then the B button would be for jumping and dodging sideways, in order to get away from hitboxes and quickly repositioning to hit weaknesses, but actually doesn't give the evasion effect, meaning that you can't escape from attacks of an enemy aggroing you. The A button for a quick casting defensive art like Melia's Reflect, Charla's Shield Bullet, and Tora's Scattershot. These are important because, as I said, the jumping and dodging only work if you aren't being aggroed. The standard arts can be accessed by pressing ZR plus any of the 4 face buttons, and the specials by doing the same but with ZL this time. The standard arts are pretty much exactly as they are in 2, while specials this time are performed by the characters themselves and have a specific element that can be changed depending on the weapon like in Torna. But every special will be available. You may be able to choose if you would rather use a level 4 that involves all the party or spend level 1 specials. Art Overcharge would make a comeback from X, and just like in that game, the overcharge may add different aspects or simply work as a way to spend them. What could also work on strategies for building specials quickly. When it comes to the driver combo, I would like to get rid of break arts as the only chain starter. It's still in the game, but now you can also break an opponent if you exploit their elemental weakness, hitting with your special that sets an orb of that element, what will in turn reduce the damage of that element until you break the orb, making you have to choose between having reduced damage on the enemy weakness or being able to easily inflict any states like Topple, Launch, Daze, Smash, and new ones that I would like to see like Bury, and additionally states that have a more limited usefulness like Sleep and Confuse could be inflicted without Break and count towards a fusion combo. A detail I want to see is environmental interactions, like a Fire Special activating a burn effect on a grassy field. I'd like to have the freedom to recruit at least some NPCs to be in the party like in X, and be able to have 8 characters on the field even if they don't do a lot, and only serve as support for active members like in Torna, as I think this would open up a lot of options for which pairing you would use on the 4 active members. And last but not least, I want an in-combat pause button, like the one that the Tale series had. This would be immediately useful for everyone and have the added benefit of changing who you are playing on the fly. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video and see you next time.